All right, what is up, guys? Welcome back to Getting Swole. I'm your host, Ken Tunison, and today I got episode 14 for you, legs, and of course, the dead bench, also known as the pin press. Now, huge PR today, 315 by 10 for the squat, but before I get to that, we have some discussing to do about benching, okay? Now, benching is considered by many the most macho move, okay? If you have a great bench, an impressive bench press, a big bench, guys kind of look at you, especially in the lifting realm, right? Guys look at you like, oh, I respect this guy, right? Which is kind of funny to say, like, oh, that's all it takes to respect someone is if they bench a lot. I personally think it should take a lot more than just how much they can put up on the bench press, but that's just my opinion. But I'm not here to argue that. That is just the way things are. So I'm going to talk about how I increased my bench in this video and give some pointers about how maybe you can potentially increase your bench press, right? You want to get those numbers up. Maybe you're stuck at a plateau and you don't really know what to do, okay? Now, conventional training wisdom, you're going to go on YouTube, you're going to watch, even Jay Cutler says this, famous bodybuilders from the past, they say lower the weight and focus on adding reps, which is not terrible advice. It's not wrong advice, right? It's actually very good advice. But the problem with it is that it is very broad. It's not very specific. I would argue it's not specific at all. Can it help you? Yes, but if you have already done that, you have already been doing that, progressive overloading, which you should be, everyone should be doing it, you're going to realize that the reps, they stop adding up. All right? It's not like every week you can just add a rep this week, add a rep next week, and just keep adding reps, keep adding the weight, going up 5 pounds every 2 weeks, right? 10 pounds every 2 weeks. It doesn't work like that. Not even for guys who are heavily enhanced. It just doesn't work like that. Okay? You are going to get to a point, and they call this plateau, right? Also known as a sticking point. You're going to get to that point, and you're going to be like, wow, what am I supposed to do? And that is if you were in the same shoes as I was a few months ago, and you had no idea about things like the dead bench, okay? Things like the floor press, okay? A lot of guys have no idea about this. And I know because I had no idea about those two workouts alone. I know there are other bench assisting workouts to do that can help you, but I had no idea even about those two. And I feel like those are probably the two most popular. And once I found out about them, I kind of just had blind faith. I started trusting the process. I just added the dead bench into my program and the floor press. I'm not really doing the floor press as much lately because I realized that I didn't really need to be doing it. I need to be doing something more like a close grip bench press to get my tricep strength up, but it will see a return to my program very shortly. I will say that. But back to my point, if you are like me and you had no idea about these, I'm here today to tell you about them, all right? Because conventional training wisdom on YouTube is not going to tell you about them. Conventional powerlifting training wisdom might tell you about them, but if you're not really into that stuff, which I'm not really into it that much at all, you probably don't have any idea about any of it, okay? But this can help for bodybuilders, all right? Guys who put bodybuilding before powerlifting, such as myself, this can absolutely help you, all right? Because when you're natural, when you get stronger, when you start adding reps, that's how you're going to get bigger, okay? And you should want to get bigger and stronger. Now, my tips for dead benching, you guys can see right here in the video. You have to set up, or I should first say, you need to have a rack to do this, all right? I know even a lot of commercial gyms don't even have a rack to do this in. So if you can't really find one to do it in, and you don't have space at home to get one of these racks and do it, this rack is only $350, all right? get a barbell. You can get all this equipment for under $1,000. That's if you already have weights. I'm not really going to get into too much detail about weights and how expensive they are, because man, whew, are they expensive, all right? But you are going to need a proper setup to do this, all right? If you don't have that, it's not really gonna work out for you. So have a rack like this, have the safety pins that you see that I have, okay? They can either be the cloth ones that have a very high weight capacity, or you can have just the pins, right? Everyone has seen those before. And you're gonna need to line it up with where your sticking point is, all right? You guys are probably like, you're lining it up at your lowest point. That is because that is my weakest point in the bench press. My strength off the chest is where I struggle, especially when I increase the weights. And if you find yourself in that same category, all right, then that's where you should set it up, right? But I do know that a lot of guys have trouble locking out. That is where they kind of hit their plateau. They can't get beyond that. In that case, you're probably gonna want it a little higher, okay? You're gonna wanna set that up a little higher, which is why I love the dead bench so much, okay? You can just set up the holes on the rack, if you have the rack, of course, to wherever you need it to be. And then you could just go from there, and then you could start overloading, all right? Now, I don't know if I said this earlier in the video, but your strength is going to be a lot weaker on a dead bench. Okay, it should be a lot weaker because you don't have that elastic energy that is being built up when you take out the descent on the bench. Okay, your body's building up a ton of elastic energy to then fire back up, which helps you out an awful lot. All right, that is completely gone in this. It's just on your chest, all right? It's dead weight, and you have to push it up, okay? So it's gonna be a lot lower, all right? And when I first did this, I thought I was gonna be about 50, maybe 40 pounds below my max, which was 300 at the time. And I said, you know, let's try 250, all right? But instead of doing 250 right away, I was smart about it and I said, let's do 2 plates, see how that feels. And man, it was hard. All right, I think I got 7 reps and I said to myself, there's no way in hell I could do 250 with this. Maybe I'll do it for like 1 rep. Maybe. I'm not ready for that. So I committed myself for 2 weeks to every week increasing the weight by 10 to 20 pounds. Okay, so I did 225. The next session I did 245. And then the session after that I did 265. But 265 felt very easy for me on that 3rd session. So I jumped right up to 275. And then you can see right here, earlier in this video, was 280. Okay, so increasing pretty quick on that. A lot quicker than most people will, but that's just the way it's been going for me. Everything's been going very well. And it's only been about a month or 2 since I started doing it. And yeah, you're gonna have to trust the process. You know, there's no like, oh, I'll do this and you'll add 30 pounds to your bench. If you get really good at this, your regular bench is going to go up. All right, it's just gonna happen. All right, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Now, of course, there are other movements that you can do, such as the close grip bench press, right? You can do the floor press, like I talked about. I'm not really gonna go over those 2 in this video. I'm gonna go over the close grip bench press in the next video, so stay tuned for that. But you can also be doing a lot of overhead pressing, which is what I recommend a lot for a lot of guys, okay? Because let's face it, the overhead press is a forgotten exercise. Not a lot of guys do it. And I'm not talking about the seated dumbbell shoulder press. I'm talking about straight up standing barbell overhead press. Okay, not a lot of guys do it. And if you can get those numbers up, you can be repping, let's say 135, okay? Or just over, maybe let's say 115, because I know a lot of guys, again, struggle with that. I myself am someone that has struggled with that. If you can get to, let's say, 115 to 135 for 8 to 10 reps, your bench is gonna go up, all right? And if you're already there, really try to keep increasing your overhead press because it's only gonna help you out in the long run. It's just gonna make you a lot stronger on benching and pretty much every other upper body push movement. All right, now you guys seen the video. Didn't really say much about leg extensions, leg curls. Not really much to say, but I got squats here. 315. I got 9 last week, and I do get 10 here. All right. And instead of doing what I did a few years ago when I got to 315 by 10, because I have done this before in the past, instead of just staying at 315 and trying to add more reps, like let's say 11 next week, try to get 315 by 11, I'm not going to do that. All right, I'm going to go up to 325, and I'm going to try to get 325 for more than 6 or 7. That's a number I like getting more than, so I'm going to attempt that next leg day, which is next Thursday. All right, going to attempt that, and then that's how it's going to be. All right, once I get that for like 9 or 10, go up to 335. All right, that's the overload approach right now. But guys, that is the video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed these PRs and this little dead bench talk. All right, I will catch you in the next one. Thanks again so much for watching. I'll see you guys later.